Okay, we are live. What's up, everyone? So, welcome to this Agent Intelligence, where we're exploring the future of AI agent in Web3. We're chatting with strong builders and ecosystem leader. And for the people that doesn't know me, I'm Francesco. I'm leading developer relation at MetaMask, and I'm also contributing at Mother DAO. So, building this kind of like AI agent repo with social graphs. So, a lot of like things are going on. So, today we're deeping dive into the technology and the vision about Zomi. Really appreciate that you put actually in your title. So welcome, Azi. It's a pleasure to meet you and an honor. And even if you're almost in Denver, that you mentioned that you are nearby, it's great to have you here and have this conversation. So welcome.
Really appreciate you having me out here. Super excited to meet you and to actually meet a builder that I use a product from everyday MetaMask, and
Nice.
just super excited to chat about the
Sounds
future of
good.
the agentic web.
Nice. Let's do it then. I think like you mentioned, so Zomi, you want to kind of walk us a little bit through, but before that, like you want to quickly introduce yourself, what you were doing in the space, you were kind of active around AI agents. Give us some background.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Azi, founder of Zoe. I got into crypto around 2016-17 while I was playing a game called RuneScape, and then was trying to
Nice.
sell it for Bitcoin, and then fell down the rabbit hole of self-sovereign money. I went to NYU, New York University, studied computer
Yeah.
science while I was there, with a focus on NLP and BERT, which is a precursor to the whole LLM wave.
Nice.
I was active in DeFi summer and was looking for opportunities to work in the space full time. When I basically joined a deep tech fund, and out of there they incubated the ideas I had. And one of the core earliest theses of mine was that blockchains are the perfect substrate for autonomous life, and eventually autonomous agents would exist. And how do you design systems and protocols
Mhm.
to enable off-chain agentic coordination alongside on-chain interactions as well?
Nice, that's super cool. Actually, when you say DeFi Summer, it remind me a lot of like, Dexys being forked off the fork of the fork. That's why like every like that was kind of like my passion around kind of modder where we're thinking about, okay, assuming we will have let's say agent forks, like the only way to kind of like defend the rights for the AI agent consumer to really get the best agents with track record is actually building attestation and social graphs around agents. So that's kind of like why everything started. But let's go back a little bit on the Zomi side. Like, so what kind of like was the problem where you were initially trying to solve with this kind of like AI agent builder library? It's super interesting to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when we first started Zoe, we had this thesis that a new messaging protocol would be born, specifically Web3 native. And if you look at it, every iteration of the internet creates a new authentication layer that gives rise to new messaging layers. Web 1 was email, SMTP, Gmail. Web 2 was
Yes.
SMS, the phone number, and the contact book as a social graph. Now we have the ultimate authentication layer. It's a wallet, pseudo-anonymous, self-sovereign, user-owned, and it has money over IP, value transmission over this network. And so we, from the beginning, realized that a messaging app and protocol would be born that enables public key to public key coordination. And our first sort of go to market early on in 2022, you see, like I was a very purist, and I fell in love with DAOs. And so, DAOs were pretty hyped in 2021, 2022. And so we wanted to replace Discord for coordination of multiple actors and have Gnosis Safe and all these sort of DAO toolings built into it. And, we had a very hard time finding PMF. The DAO cycle sort of disappeared. And, we went back to the drawing board to really understand, okay, what do an end user, mass consumer might want to use? And, around that same time, ChatGPT came
Oh
out.
yeah.
And I quickly realized that humans and agents would need a space to coexist and cooperate. And if you look at the primary sort of dominant agentic interaction today, it's user to agent. It's always a single player experience. And it's almost always a reactive experience, meaning you give an intent, the agent reacts. And so I think what we're going to soon move over to is multi-agent coordination, where teams of humans and teams of agents communicate and coordinate in this one venue. And we have proactive agentic interactions, meaning the agents understand your intent
Yep.
and can predict future actions you might take and move them in front of you
Nice.
to enable you to autonomously enable these actions.
Actually, this is super interesting because you are one of the first person actually that mention with kind of like a bold statement about AI agent coordination, because this is kind of like the problem that we saw kind of like from the start, or I saw like before like like even around kind of like Web2 AI agency that people, especially like humans, will be agents to actually drive a service. But what if actually agent will drive services to other agents? How is this coordination being done? How are we defining some frameworks? Do we have some standards? I'm assuming same in Web3 that we are running EIP around EVM. We will have also standard frameworks that defining like AI agent to AI agent kind of like services. How you define? Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Oh, no, I'll answer. I'll send it. But what was your
The
question?
question is mostly about what's your take around the agent coordination, how we are kind of dealing with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're already seeing very early implementations of sort of SDKs for agents that are getting popular at open source. Claude released MCP, Model Context
Oh,
Protocol,
yeah.
and that lets that's like a USB-C plug for agents to plug into any sort of ancillary external service and use that for context.
Ah,
And I think I'm a little. I think there's going to be just you can already predict that in this agentic web, every human will have an AI agent. Agents will act out on human behalf, and so if you sort of assume that, you can basically quickly realize that a networked topology
mhm.
is the end state where humans and agents communicate and
Yeah.
coexist. And if you assume that to the end case, what sort of protocols, primitives, and user interfaces lead us to that end goal?
Mhm.
And I think our goal is to enable the messaging and coordination layer. We've specifically chosen not to work on frameworks or the model, primarily because we think frameworks are going to be plug and play. And we think models, in crypto, people had the fat protocol thesis. I think you saw an early version of the fat model thesis where everyone thought the model will crawl the value. And I disagree with that. And I think the market is also understanding that, oh, wow, you need to capture the attention and intention layer. That's where value accrual will happen. And some of it will go to the model. And um, the other thing is the fact that just how there's DEX aggregators, there will be framework aggregators, model aggregators, agent aggregators. And so our thesis has been to approach it from an aggregation standpoint and enable the messaging and coordination layer. We believe that is going to be the mechanism, the social
Mhm.
graph that has a moat
Mhm.
that can retain value. Um, and one thing I'll say is in the previous generation of the web, we have this notion of the network effect. So I think the next generation of the network effect is the personalization effect. You're going to stick with the agent that knows you the best, that understands you. And that's going to be very sticky. You're not going to want to go to another agent if it doesn't really know you. It doesn't have your RAG, your context. And so how we think about value accrual and building for the end user, we want to build the social graph and enable the personalization network effect to really capture the user and give them what they want.
Nice. That's a very complete kind of like answer. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. And I think first, even before thinking about kind of coordination, we definitely need to, avoid this kind of like, DeFi summer kind of history about kind of forking, not just forking dexes, but in this case, like forking agent and providing kind of agent doing the same things, same vertical to actually agent consumers. Because I think in the future, like that's why it's super important pushing like this kind of like narrative around building a social graph around the agent. Because right now we're speaking about very basic kind of like agent, but think about when more kind of like DeFi agents will come in play, where actually you can actually deal with deploying or delegating wealth to the agent with a specific kind of like goal. So that's why kind of like social net attestation, public attestation for agents would be a big thing. But anyway, I think you're passionate and you're really passionate about kind of like sharing like demos, showing like a little bit what the agent is. But walk us a little bit through the agent kind of core functionality, and feel free also to share your screen.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to share my screen, but before I do, I want to mention a few
Please.
sort of ancillary ideas to get you to understand how we're really thinking about this next evolution of the web. And it starts from the notion that the current iterations of the web had no native value mechanisms, so they built this notion of the attention economy, and they would commoditize your attention to extract value out of you.
Think about Kaito now.
And yeah, and so this was a byproduct of algorithmic AI. Let's call it algo AI. And now we're moving to the what I call intention economy, that is powered by agentic AI that actualizes user intent and gets paid a microtransaction for what it's doing. And so furthermore, LLMs are going to really severely reshape the internet's native model of extracting value and providing value. Right now, it's ad based. But if you have a model that aggregates information, scrubs all the ads, you really have to reshift how you think value can be transmitted between actors on the web. And we really think agents are the ultimate super app that is going to really disintermediate
100%.
a lot of Web 2 models, and crypto will be the medium through which value can be shared and
Yeah.
exchanged between these actors. And so now I'll go into my demo.
Yes.
So
No, I just want to agree.
um,
I just want to agree on the fact that Web3 Rails, the only things that I think is missing, because I'm looking around the agent and toolkits and frameworks since a long time, since kind of like LLM and before even Web3, when I see big enterprise coming with those frameworks. But the biggest difference today leveraging Web3 Rails is that you can fetch data, you have fully transparency, you actually have an open economy that you can have access to, and this is super exciting. This I think is the missing pieces, and I'm just agreeing with what you're saying there. But let's dive into.
yeah, let's do it. So Zoe is a application and a protocol, but I'm going to focus really on the application side today. And so our end vision is I've had this vision ever since I got into crypto in like 2016, 17, is that someone is going to converge social coordination, capital formation, and augmented intelligence into this one venue, something like Web3 WeChat or Telegram, that is self-sovereign, pseudo-anonymous, and really gives you the toolkits to enable human agency. And our vision from the beginning has been to build this super app like experience. And so the current UI UX is very similar to like Telegram or WhatsApp. Every user gets an agent called Zai, which is our main agent called Zoe AI. It's sort of like Perplexity and Telegram, Perplexity and OpenAI, where basically you can query it contract addresses and it'll give you information on contract addresses. You can query it like what's the weather. Let me do that.
Is this trained based on a specific vertical, or?
No, this is a generic agent that has access to real-time information and other API tools.
Okay.
And so it's pretty cold in Denver. And so this is a very simple experience. What's very powerful now is when you have agents and humans in the same venue communicating, coordinating. So this is a group chat with Farcaster, where if you log into Farcaster on Zoe, you automatically get added to this group chat. And these clones of Vitalik and Anatoly and Varun, creators of Farcaster, will greet you and welcome you to this Farcaster group chat. And so in this venue, in this specific example, what gets really unique and what some unique experiences that we've seen is collaborative intelligent experiences where you can collaboratively prompt this agent and understand like what value it can enable and do. We have a whole app store that we've built out that enables you to interact with basically any model and all the agents that people have created. The first iteration of this is very similar to Character AI. It's a consumer-facing app. But now I want to show you the second iteration that we're finalizing right now. And the second iteration basically has on-chain capabilities. So it has Base and Solana. We're finalizing Base right now. So you can send money with text, and a very simple prompt will exist to ensure it. So one thing I want to mention with agents is you don't always want full autonomy. Sometimes you really want human in the loop. And what I believe the future of these systems are teams of agents driving teams of humans. I don't believe these agents on their own right now can do long-term tasks. So you need a human to finalize the long-term goals, and the agent basically executes short-term, repetitive, autonomous interactions. And to enable that, I'm going to show you a few examples that I think are really interesting. So this is a group chat with a bunch of these agents and just me. And so I'm going to do something very interesting. I'm going to use a mini app called Echo. Echo. I'm going to talk to Claude and Gemini.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay. So what does Echo do? It lets you prompt multiple agents at the same time with one query. So you do that. And so, there's a lot of tools that people have built to basically let you test and compare prompts to different models. And this is a very simple UI UX where any consumer can come in and enable a tools to operate multiple agents.
Nice.
Okay, that's cool. It gets even cooler. We have another mini app called Echo Chamber.
Oh, yeah.
And so let me, I want to understand proof of stake ETH, explain like I'm 5. And so this is a goal, but I'm going to say, do the same objective. And so I can choose how many times these agents will talk to each other. And now we created a reasoning loop where basically we have teams of agents focused on one task, communicating, coordinating with each other, having context on the whole group chat and the prompt, and letting them basically come to ideas on the goal that you've set. So I asked them, I'll explain proof of Ethereum like I'm 5. So now Gemini is going ahead and doing that. And then Claude is adding to Gemini's ideas. And then they keep basically looping until you stop it. And what's really cool is like, how about Solana? I can, in the middle, butt in and ask another question.
That's really cool.
And so this gives very simple tools to enable operating teams of agents. And so that is
so assuming I can just get also Farcaster, like I just subscribe for Farcon, for example, or some events around the Warcast. I think in theory you guys can also like have some automatic sign up through these through the agents of Farcaster meetups or something like that. That's really cool.
Absolutely. So we actually, what's really cool is so we have an app studio.
Nice.
And in the app studio, you can basically create apps. Multi-agents are coming soon, but for now I'm going to go with a single app. Cool. I'm going to make this private. You can make it public as well. I'm going to make it public actually. And so you give it, hey, I'm Francesco. Let me, just for speed, I'm just gonna
go for it. Yeah, brief description. Okay.
Really quick. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna choose GPT-4 as the model. That's fine. And now I can. This is where it gets really cool. And I wanted to bring this up. You mentioned Farcaster. You can actually train an agent on any Farcaster data. Meaning I can clone a Farcaster user.
Yeah.
Or I can clone an X user.
Nice.
Or in your YouTube channel, I'll scrape every YouTube video you've made, get the transcript, and train that agent on that RAG. Or give me your documents, your text.
This is really cool.
And you can very simply aggregate knowledge into this one agent and launch it. And so you can also, like we mentioned, we're about to release Ethereum, but Solana's live right now on our DevNet, where you can basically have these agents have an on-chain element too. Here's the distinction that we make that I think most other people don't, is that not everything has to be on-chain. Not everything has to have a crypto native element to it. We do it in the background, but if the user wants to be aware of it, we make them aware. But we don't force like difficult technical concepts onto our users. So I'm gonna just save this. I'm not gonna use any knowledge base.
That's very cool. So I could build my own agent based on YouTube history or even Twitter history. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I would say, if you did do YouTube, if there's other people in the video, it could confuse
which one is
the user. So it's best to clean the data a little, where you get the transcript and you only take you specify this is Francesco versus this is someone else. So it learns that, oh, okay, this is Francesco's opinions on the conversation with this other human. But we're gonna work on making that easier for you as well. And anyway, so I built this agent called Francesco, and it's live. I can interact with it. But what gets really cool, and this is where I think you'll really be impressed, is every user and every agent gets a Web3 link tree that aggregates their on-chain and off-chain identity into one homepage.
Nice.
And this is basically a proof of humanity page and a profile page for agents as well. And so you can embed the agent's token in this web page. I'm gonna go to zo.me/ maybe Claude. Let's see what appears. It goes to it. Let's use Karima's agent as an example. And so I'm going to take this. And so this is an identity page for agents as well, because agents need to have reputation. You need to know where the data came from, who the creator is, and is it actually good at its job. And so this is a very simple primitive to enable an identity layer, a social graph to start emerging with agents as well.
That's so cool, and also very fast. Like like
Yeah,
you can literally build the agents based on this already built with connection with history. I try to build my kind of like my own agent, downloading the Twitter history. Like this is like so fast and efficient. Yeah,
it's very powerful. I'm going to take it another step further
nice.
and show you something we haven't released yet, but it's the cream of the cream of
Ah,
what my end
the
vision
alphas
is
here,
moving towards.
nice.
So each iteration of the internet creates new authentication layers that leads to messaging layers. They also create new mediums of doing work. The email thread, the group chat. I would say Slack and Discord have perfected the organizational hierarchy of having a server and nested channels. And so our vision is to enable a Web3 Discord-like experience where you can have channels, you can add apps like Snapshot or Gnosis Safe or the Solana equivalents. You can also add agents here. And basically, each channel, you can have a marketing channel, it'll be an ELISA agent or any framework. And you can have the team of agents fine tune the team of humans, direct the agents for their marketing goal. You can have a treasury department where you have a DeFi agent, a Solana agent, a wormhole agent. They manage your liquidity pool and XYZ. You can have a board of directors. This is only humans, no agents in here.
Hmm.
And so, what this is leading to is what we call an evolution of DAOs, agentic
Mhm.
DAOs. But the term I really like, it's on my Twitter. We call them Autocorps, autonomous
Mm,
corporations.
this is very
And
cool.
Autocorps are what we believe will be the next hierarchical unit, just how the corporation was unlocked because of
That's so cool.
the new tools that came out. We believe Autocorps will be the next autonomous vehicle for labor and
That's
capital
really cool. Because
concentration.
my whole kind of like hypothesis all the time was that the biggest challenges around DAOs were actually human coordination. So I think what you're bringing here is actually something that, as tooling, also will offer a true benefit for DAO and collaboration. Go for it. Go for it.
The one thing I'd add is, like the 2021, 2022, 2022 DAO wave, um, it was really focused on humans. And the thing was, when you have like too much human involvement, it can lead to diffused accountability. And if you look at the original DAO paper that Vitalik wrote, it talks about humans at the edge, agents at the center. And so I think agents were the missing core piece to actually build out the end evolution we imagine, where you have humans giving long-term goals at the edge, treasury and governments being augmented with agents ensuring execution of long-term, short-term, monotonous tasks.
Mhm.
Um, One thing I'll mention is uh, that I have this whole theory that Homo sapiens outcompeted Neanderthals because we have the neocortex that enabled language,
Mhm.
social contract, culture, laws, money,
Oof, yeah.
and we were able to use these tools out of the ability to have a low transmission information medium, which is language. And now I believe we're about to evolve. We now have global trustless coordination unbounded by geography and a mind outside of our mind that augments intelligence. We're becoming neo sapiens, and we have an exocortex. A
Hmm.
And this exocortex is powered by crypto and AI, and it actualizes intent. Instead of language being the medium, it's intent. With intent, it speaks every language, it converts every currency, and it reduces coordination costs for all members involved. And so I think we're truly in the precipice of the next renaissance. And I do believe Autocorps, agents, and Web3 will be the substrate that enables the proliferation of these tools.
And actually, this is super random. I agree because I'm checking. Some people are DMing me like some questions, like I basically telling me like ask. I wanna like they wanna ask you if your agents can only be used within is the app, or if it's going kind of beyond, for example, with autonomous posting on X, Farcaster, and extra things.
Absolutely. Come on, man. Agents have to exist. I mean, my app is where you will drive it, but you can drive it on any road. It can live on Farcaster. It can live on Twitter, Telegram, Discord,
Boom,
even WeChat.
nice.
Well, we're still working on that. I don't want to over share and not deliver on time, but we are absolutely ensuring that these agents can live on all these platforms, and we want to be the steering wheel that lets you manage not just one agent, not two, a swarm, a
Nice,
team of agents.
nice.
And I sort of want to, if you have any other questions,
No,
I'm happy
no,
to take them. But I
that's
want to mention
no,
something
go
very.
for it, go for it. Please mention. I like the
Okay.
flow.
So now I'm gonna have to discuss a few other things that are happening in the world, which is primarily the fact that um, I think we're all aware of the fact that AI is what crypto did. It untethered geography from capital. AI is decoupling labor from capital, where now you can
Yeah.
make money without needing labor.
Oof, interesting.
And at some point, there's going to be an ontological shock, a realization
Mhm.
by the mass consumer that I can't compete with this. It will outwork me. It will out earn me. And basically, um, you need some mechanism of UBI. You need to, like, the social contracts as we know it today are slowly going to deteriorate heavily. And, all these AGI builders, Sam Altman, Elon Musk, they're after intelligence. But I argue intelligence is not the last problem. Coordination
Mhm.
is. You can have
Agree.
all the intelligence in the world. That doesn't mean you can solve every problem. And one thesis that I'm very aware of this, and I'm building automations, agents that will play a role in destabilizing the current social contract, which is I work, I make money, I can do all this. And so I'm very cognizant of that. And so I'm not just building like how everyone else. How do I build a protocol and application that understands this reality
Mhm.
and can help actualize a version of this reality that doesn't get dystopian? And so as intelligence
Mhm.
basically races to
Wrap up.
infinity,
Yeah.
tokenization is the only path to ensuring a democratization of AGI.
Mm.
And our approach to this is we want to be where people build autocorps, autonomous corporations. Corporations are a pseudo AGI. They use actors and capital as a medium to build out basically a corporation. We think multiple agents, heterogeneous models and agents will come together to create pseudo AGIs, which are these autonomous corporations that are
Mhm.
held together with a token. And our goal is all the revenue that these autocorps generate,
Mhm.
majority of it will go to the creator of the autocorp.
Mm.
But every interaction will have an automation tax.
Mhm.
That automation tax goes to a pool of money
Yeah.
that earns yield every year, and we distribute that money using a proof of humanity protocol. My thesis is whoever can build the dominant agentic protocol can build a proof of humanity protocol.
Mm.
And
That's
I
so
believe
cool.
Sam Altman already realized this. He's building AGI and he's building WorldCoin.
Hmm.
And so our Web3 link tree, this is the path through which we're going to categorize humans on our application
Mhm.
and ensure the value that our apps and our protocol creates can be redirected to the masses. And one final thing I'll say is that I believe that um, I write it in this essay basically that Bitcoin was proof of work.
Mhm.
Agentic reasoning will give rise to proof of useful work,
Hmm. Yeah.
where you
Yeah.
use reason.
That's interesting, but I just want to say that the reason also why Moderate exists is building this open attestation and social graph for agents. But the social graph are not just for tracking things; it's also actually to provide a clear quality of the work and the value that the agent is actually provided to the human, right, or even to other agents.
Absolutely.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, you're blowing my mind right now on different kind of like work stream of what is happening. I think also like when humanity will realize also how powerful is this kind of like wave of innovation. It's also like a good you have a lot of like good follow up question around how you can be valuable as a human and where you think value will be created next, like because I think as you're saying, like not just social standards will kind of like deteriorate, but also like where how you can differentiate yourself it would be this like the answer would be like having better agents on your side compared to others. What is kind of a differentiator and how you can actually consume that value on a more efficient way?
Absolutely. I think you're going to see a bifurcation of the human population. If you give every human access to sovereign capital and augmented intelligence, the bifurcation will happen. Who has agency to use these tools and who does not? And so this is democratizing access to everyone. And I think the best thing you can do right now is to ensure that you know how to use AI tools. You can become a neo sapien. You can augment yourself with intelligence, and your understanding of how to manage and own sovereign capital. And I think one other thing I want to mention to
Yep.
you is a lot of people try and like keyhole uses for crypto and AI, and obviously like the payment layer is the obvious utility that makes complete sense. But I've been really thinking about sort of another reason why AI needs crypto, and the reason it does is these models are static files; they don't update. The human brain is constantly being updated with neurons. Its previous data is being refurbished, re-architected. And so these are static files. You prompt it, it wakes up, answers your question, and then goes back to sleep. And so these agents, these models have no notion of temporality. They don't perceive time.
That's true.
You get agency as a function of perceiving time. Where can we find a decentralized clock, a distributed, uncorruptible time chain? It's block space. That's the first actually definition of Bitcoin. It's a time chain.
Mm-hmm.
And so my thesis is that these models, they'll have to come on chain, not only because that's where they'll attain sovereignty and autonomy, but that's how they'll gain agency, and that's how they'll be able to cooperate and coexist with multiple actors by using crypto as the incentive mechanism to evolve itself using global RLHF and all these other sort of mediums and tools. One other thing I'll say is I think crypto is the most optimal path to enable federated, asynchronous, continuous federated learning, meaning the models in the future will be constantly updated asynchronously, continuously using federated learning, and value will be streamed to the entities that train this data.
100%. That's a good point. So the training you think is where kind of the reward and incentive happens. So better training, and like that's kind of like the main value. Yeah. What about if agents will start to auto train based on kind of like on-chain real data? It's
That is exactly what will happen, because on-chain markets are the best dark forest for an intelligence to attempt to sort of explore and realize sort of novel information from. So I fully expect that to happen already.
100%. Yeah, 100%. That's super interesting. I wish like we have a part two here because we're almost at time. Anything? So what's kind of like going next? You kind of like touch on different things. So what are kind of like the next? I assume you're working more on integration. I assume also like you will build also like kind of like open source frameworks for other builders to integrate basically to integrate their services or build a new integration in Zomi. What what else are you working on? Like is kind of happening.
Yeah. So in the next few weeks, we're about to launch an embedded wallet on mobile. And so our mobile app will be Telegram meets ChatGPT meets Phantom or MetaMask into this one
Nice.
venue. So we're really excited about enabling embedded wallets into our app, EVM, SVM, any chain, EVM and SVM first. After that, what we're really excited about is adding onto our integration layer for the App Studio and letting users basically integrate any SDK, any model. And after that, the goal is to how do we build these ozones in the most optimal format? Can we have a multi-sig in a group chat? Can you have a DAO group chat where the agents execute and know your intent? And so you can co-own a wallet with a group chat.
Yes.
I think those are the tools and experiences that we want to really unlock to enable
Nice. That's very cool.
sort of the agentic.
Very cool. No, that's super cool. I mean, a bunch of AI agent builder are hearing us, right? Is there some lesson learned? You've been around for a long time. You've been building this. Is there kind of like things that you're saying, okay, this was kind of a fuck up. This is what I learned about. These were some architecture challenges that I will not go back to redo it again. This is the way they will do it. What are kind of the lesson learned that you want to share to people building right now an agent?
Yeah, a few things I would say is don't marry any framework, any model, or any agent. The space is moving way too fast to assume the stack we're using now is going to be the stack we're
Yeah.
using a few months from now. And so if you take that into consideration, you should really be optimizing your front end, your data sources, such that the model is a battery. You can replace it in and out. And so we really think RAG pipelines, memory. I think memory is one of the biggest things
Hmm.
that's really actually unsolved
Yes.
still. And basically, the front end, how you experience and manage your agents, is going to be very important. Everything else you should assume is a battery that you can replace in and out. Um, I would, unless you're very wealthy or capable, I would advise against model training.
Hmm.
Um, Model training, everyone had this fat model thesis that models are
Mm.
going to be the value
Yeah.
accrual. But
It's not the case.
um,
Yeah.
the Chinese models, the most fascinating thing is the fact that OpenAI took everyone's data without permission,
Mm.
closed it off, and then the Chinese sucked it out using distillation and open sourced the model. And it's like Prometheus getting like taking the fire from the gods and giving divine intelligence to
Yeah.
everyone. And I think in that assumed manner, what you really need to understand is the value accrual will happen at the application attention intention layer. Don't I would strong unless you're working on something very
Mhm.
technical or a very novel insight on terms of like a new mechanism design. I would strongly suggest agent builders focus on attention, retention, and the application layer.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I think that's a good lesson learned. I also like the fact, don't marry yourself on specific frameworks, especially when I'm seeing like stuff like LangChain or Elisa 2.0 coming, like things are moving so fast, and also I'm asking myself the integration part will be the big differentiator, right? Because right now everybody's building their own tech. There is already like tech stack on the market, but the integration are missing. So it's also like a fact that you want to first build in public, but also building in ways that you can extend the functionality afterwards. But also like one thing I realize, speaking with people like you, Aziz, is the Python based frameworks around kind of LLM and training are so much more kind of like in trends right now, because like it's you have much more flexibility compared to a Rust based agent building. But that's kind of like a side note. Yeah.
Makes complete sense. I think Rust is an awesome language. Memory safety makes complete sense for these agents, but Python's network effect in the LLM and like AI community is just very strong.
Nice.
It's unwise to take on those network effects.
Agree. Cool. Thank you so much. I think everybody's looking forward also to meet you in Denver. I think a bunch of things are happening right now. Denver is happening. Model is happening. You're building and kind of like pushing the kind of the agency model further. I think you kind of touched already what is coming next. And anything else that I might have missed asking you that you want to share with people for all the agents builder here.
Yeah, I think we're living the greatest time to be alive. Um, you should don't. There's a lot of my friends that have like anxiety or like are overwhelmed, but the future you can't stop it. You can only flow with the wave, and the individuals that have the agency to use the tools that exist in front of them today will completely have an advantage over anyone that doesn't. And I think there's a there's room for new leaders to rise to actualize this calling as well. So I
Yes.
think I strong and one other thing I'll say is everything you say or do right now is being used as a training data for a future model. And so I think the path to alignment is through self
Oh yeah.
alignment. And I think everything you do is going to be used in training data in the future. So I'd really strongly suggest everyone like share everything, make it public. You have a you're gonna some words you might be uttering might be neurons firing in an LLM one day, and so make your mark in history. I think this is the greatest time
Yeah,
to do it.
go on chain as early as possible, right? Yeah, yeah. Sounds good. Awesome. Thank you so much, Azi. It's a pleasure, and let's probably like meet in Denver in some kind of like agent conference. I think that's all for today, Agent Intelligence. Again, Azi, thank you so much. I think sharing those insights around Zomi is actually super interesting because this is not just an agent; he's actually building agents to agents plus integration. So it's actually another next level. So for anybody kind of like watching. We kind of like the modern kind of project officially launched. Also, like if you're building cool stuff around the agency, we try to get everybody also on board in those pitching community calls, office hours, and also like have you an opportunity if you're building some cool agent models to actually present to all the community. So that's all. We are trying to connect all the dots around agent builders. Again, Azi, thank you so much. Looking forward to see you in